things: energy security and national security. I think we need to put all options. On the table in terms of energy: nuclear, wind, solar, drilling. Everything has to be on the table. A lot of people are talking about energy independence. This campaign started a political party so the people of this district could make this election a referendum on energy policy. Quicker, you're messing me up a little bit. Economic security. I think it's pretty simple. Tax less, regulate less, the government should spend less, and at the same time, we need to get behind our small businesses and our industries. If we did that, our economy would be strong and growing. And national security, something extraordinarily important to everyone in this room, and certainly to me. I think we need to stay on offense in a war on terror, fight the bad guys in the bad places, and at the same time make sure our intelligence agencies have the tools they need to make sure we know what the enemy is doing. And we also need to take care of our veterans. We have a moral obligation to do so. Three months ago, when I earned a nomination for the Republican Party, I quoted Vince Lombardi, and I said that we'd be both victorious and exhausted on Election Day. Well, we're on track to accomplish both of those goals. Because we're outworking my opponent, because we're out hustling him, because we're out maneuvering him, and because we are right on the issues, and he's dead wrong on the issues, I am supremely confident that 75 days from now, I'll be standing behind a podium like this, giving a victory speech on Election Day. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Congressman King, I'm sure that your opponents in Congress have called you many dirty names. I'm guessing this is absolutely the first and only time you've ever been called a communist crooner. Hey, before you all go, I just want to one more thing. And Kieran, I'm sure you'll honor this and won't mind. How about a nice round of applause for Mrs. Lalor? She's got the tough job over there. She's got the tough job over there. He's getting all the glory, making a nice speech. She's there with the babies, feeding them, and then jumping around. You got another one on the way, right? Two. So that's it. Oh, I got four, so I know how it is. Basically, he's running for the house to get out of the house. The bar is open. Enjoy. Thank you for the house.
Okay, we're here talking with Kieran Michael Lalor right after his fundraising reception at the Pinnacle Restaurant in Heritage Hills at Somers Point Golf Club. The first question, Mr. Lalor, is if you could just state who you've been endorsed by so far,
sure.
Like the official political parties.
The Republican Party, the Conservative Party. The ballots are certified there. Also, earlier this week, we submitted a pretty astounding 6,200 signatures to get a third-party ballot line. Only 3,500 are required, but we went above and beyond. We got 6,200 signatures, and our new party is called Energy Security Now. Focuses on energy policy. We have a pretty comprehensive energy platform. It includes everything under the sun, literally and figuratively: wind, solar, drilling, nuclear. Everything has to be on the table. And what's amazing is when we went and presented that to people and said, "Can we get your signature?" People ripped the clipboard out of our people's hands to sign it, and it was labor intensive to get that high number, but there was not a lot of convincing required. We have a piece of literature directly, addressing our energy platform, and it was easy to get the signature from the individual. It just was a matter of getting to the events where there were people.
So that means that that party line will be on the ballot?
Yeah, if something extraordinary happens.
And that will be the first time that particular party designation, you created it, right? Yeah. You created that,
which should be a major news story. I see my opponent in the newspaper for relatively minor stuff. We created a new political party to focus on the biggest issue of the day. That should be
energy,
energy.
Right. And sort of taking off from that, what other hot-button issues do you feel are really at the center of this campaign?
Yeah, the economy in general. People are it's linked to energy, but people are worried about their jobs. They're worried about the growth of the economy. They're worried about the tax cuts not being made permanent, which would in effect be a tax increase. So I think the economy is the broad thing, but people are concerned. Am I going to have my job? Is my wife going to have her job? And are we good going forward to be able to pay the mortgage and everything else as the dollar gets weaker and everything gets more expensive? And I think that's part of my success is the fact, number one, I'm not a career politician. People don't like politicians. And number two, I'm a really middle class guy. Everybody considers himself middle class. I'm truly a middle class guy. For the first year of this campaign, I worked a union job, midnight to 8. It was the job I worked to get myself through law school. But you can't really start a new profession and say, oh, by the way, I'm going to spend 80 hours a week running for Congress. So I just kept my midnight shifts. I have 2 baby girls, and it gave me time to spend with them and help do all the work that goes with little girls, little babies. And it also gave me a flexible schedule to run this race. And it got me the nomination, and people appreciate that. I'm really in the same boat. I have a nice Ford Explorer SUV. I haven't driven it since June. We have a minivan, and we also have an old compact that was my wife's before I even met her. 120,000 miles on. I drive that now because I'm getting crushed with gas, just like everybody else. People, Bill Clinton can say, "I feel your pain." I don't know if he means it, but I really am feeling it. With the gas prices, and I'm not slick enough to try to trick anybody, so people know I'm coming right at them with the truth. And
can you just summarize your military career? How long were you in the service?
Yeah. Interesting time. I was a high school social studies teacher, and I'd always wanted to be in the Marine Corps. My father, my brother, my uncle, all Marines. And I was getting into my mid-20s. I was teaching American history, got interested in, Brown versus the Board of Education and Miranda versus Arizona. I was going to law school, so I was making a shift. Mm-hmm. And this was in the year 2000. I said, I'm getting old. I'm too old to do this now, really, but if I don't do it now, I'm going to regret it forever. So I joined the Marine Corps Reserve in the summer of 2000. I shipped to Paris Island on July 4th, 2000. And, my plan was 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the summer. I went to boot camp for 3 months, went to learn to be an infantryman. That was my military occupational specialty. And I came home, started law school about a week before September 11th. And by the end of 2001, I was on active duty for a year. They sent us home in, I think, January of 02, of 03, and called us back up. And I was one of the first units in Iraq in March of 03. We were, I feel extremely fortunate the time I was there. We were there for the initial invasion, which was a couple weeks, and then a regime fell, and we had a pretty relatively easy time. We were out there on the streets every day, but the word insurgency was not something we focused on. IED wasn't even really a term. So other than the first couple of weeks, which were hectic, most of the time I felt like I was, in retrospect, I didn't feel like it at the time. I was miserable at the time. It was hot, and there were people trying to kill us, but not in the same organized fashion as we came. The thing that I was home in October of 2003, and we handed off to the Italian Army, Italian military police, and they took over our building, they took over our mission, and a suicide truck bomb blew up that building where I slept for months. Everybody slept. It killed, I think, 18 Italians. If you ever look at the death count, obviously there's 4,000 plus Americans and a high number of Brits, and the third or fourth is the Italians because of that truck bombing attack. And that was when things really shifted from a stabilization operation to a counterinsurgency. So for whatever reason, I was there at the right time, which kind of inspires me. I feel like these 4,000 guys, not much different than me, who never came home, including some friends of mine. And, I feel it's incumbent on me to do something with my life, and that's part of the reason I'm involved in this race.
And when did you come back from Iraq?
I came back. I was there from March to August 03.
About 3, right? And
we thought we were done. We were basing everything on the Gulf War. Saddam was gone.
Right,
then we held down the fort, and then I thought everybody would follow me home.
Right.
My unit's getting ready to ramp up again. They'll be there in September again.